What up?
What's up, man?
You got the product?
Yeah, I got the product. You got the money?
Yeah, but let me see the product first. Oh.
Where's the money?
Got it right here. Left a little something extra in there for you.
Hey, man. Look at it.
Hot. It's hot.
Ordering from a chef doesn't have to be so discreet. Download the authentic Chef to You app and get chef-prepared meals ordered straight to your door with the click of a button. Download today.
You call this value? I don't think so. Treat yourself to more with Beef O'Brady's value menu all day, every day from $6.49. Kick back and watch your favorite sports. Relax and recharge. Let Beefs put the U back in value.
Yo, this is James Lights Out Tony, the one and only. You are tuning into Philly Fight World. You see me? BAM!
What up? Welcome back to another session of Sports Talk 49 live and always exclusively at all streaming platforms that you can find podcasts at. And as always on NSPN, Champion Bay TV. I'm here with my co-host, as always, Mr. Caleb, the Nigerian Nightmare Benenoch, all the way up in Canada right now. So you better send me some bacon and some of that good food up there because I'm waiting for it. And then I can't go without my two brothers from another mother, Philly Fight World, Mr. Rassoul and Mr. Siheed, here to talk about the upcoming fight, Spence versus Crawford, and other boxing topics, because Lord knows Caleb loves to debate. So I'm interested to see how this day goes. Gentlemen, where do we start?
Well, we might as well jump into the big one that's coming up Saturday night, right?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Spence Crawford. Who you like, Caleb?
Man, I'm gonna have to go with Crawford. I've been debating, going back and forth, but I think Crawford gets it done. I was leaning Spence for a while, but I think Crawford gets it done. I think he goes the distance. I don't think anyone gets knocked out. I think he wins in a decision. I like Earl Spence, man. I like him. He looks confident, but I'm gonna have to rock with Crawford on this one. What are y'all thoughts?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I was on the fence since they signed this fight. I've been on the fence. You know, as one day I'm thinking Crawford, one day I'm thinking Spence.
Yeah.
Back and forth with it. Right now, I think I'm still there on the fence, but I'm leaning towards Crawford. He's more of a boxer, I believe. Spence. I mean, you can't deny Spence. I mean, he has the power. His track record speaks for itself. How he could get people out of there.
Yeah.
But with Crawford, you got more of a boxer, more of a switch hitter. He could go southpaw, go traditional right hand. So I got Crawford.
Me myself, I'm still leaning towards Spence, mainly because of the. I think it could go either way, 50-50, because it's going to be a battle of the jab. And I just realized, I think I was talking to my dad earlier, that both of them will kind of be in the southpaw stance majority of the fight, I believe. And whoever's going to have that jab advantage is going to be the one who wins. But I'm still leaning towards Spence. I think mentally, he's there. After that car accident, I mean, after that, this should be nothing for him. I personally think it's going to be a mental thing. Whoever won it more, in my opinion, I think it's going to be Spence. I'm gonna just say it.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't argue either way. I mean, you can't argue it against either way.
Yeah, either way. Yeah.
I mean, it is tough. They're both. It's crazy. They're both very similar, but then again, just a little bit different. And the only reason I say different, one has 11 more fights than the other. I mean, does that come into play? One has 39 fights, the other has 28. Both are similar in age. One's 33, one's 35. Like you both said, southpaw. Spence has the edge in the reach advantage. Does that play a part in the match? Crawford having the favor in 74-inch versus Spence's 72 inches. Both are the same height and stature, 5'9", 5'8", both almost identical in weight, 146, 147. Just, one has more knockouts than the other as well. But I want to go Spence, but my mind is telling me to go Crawford on this. I have to go Crawford.
I'm weird because I even watch their press conferences, and you can see who's more confident than the other one. Like when you watch Tank and Ryan Garcia's press conferences, you can see they had two different confidence levels.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Tank was in there like, I know I'm going to beat you. And you can hear it in the way he spoke, and Ryan was kind of fumbling the trash talk and wasn't really sure. He wasn't ready for the moment. He was like, all you care about is money. And he's like, yeah, we're prize fighters, dummy. We do it for money.
Get beat up. You might as well get paid.
He's like, that's what we're doing it for. We're not getting hit for fun. And so when I look at stuff like that and like any little thing to see like who has the edge, and that's kind of why I'm leaning, because it's so close between the two of them. They're both very talented. And obviously nobody else has been able to beat them. But to see these guys come together, man, I think it's going to be great. I do think it goes the distance, but I'm gonna lean Crawford just by a hair.
Like I said, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, Vegas. I think the money is going towards Crawford. He's the favorite in this fight. It's going to be an interesting fight. I mean, you have two different styles, and they say styles make fights, so it's definitely going to be interesting. Of course, we get a rematch. They said there's a rematch clause in it too, so we get two.
I don't like those rematch clauses, man. I think that's soft. Soft, man. Take your L. Take your L and move on,
Take
bro.
the L. Yeah.
He said
bye.
Yeah. You don't deserve a rematch just because you lost, bro. Like, just take your L. It's okay. And carry on.
What if it's
you know damn well what this is about? It's about the money.
Yeah.
About the
But
money.
if I already saw you lost once, I don't want to see you lose again. What's gonna change? You gonna work harder than you did before? No, he was better than you. And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And I think I think depending on how you look, like if it's 12 rounds of just one person just getting over on the other person, I mean, come on now. It's like you got to let it go. Like you said, Caleb, you got to let it go.
All right, so I got a question for y'all. What did you think about the trilogy in Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury?
We knew after the first fight that Deontay Wilder could not compete with Tyson Fury.
That boy got hands.
It was evident. Deontay Wilder is a knockout artist.
Yeah.
And Tyson Fury is a boxer.
Yeah.
Right? And you saw after that first fight, like, he can't beat this man. He got his clean little shot on him. And when that man woke up from that shot, even though I think that the ref counted a little bit slow, I do think he had a point for that one if you kind of watch the fight. But after he got up from that, I'm like, you can't beat this man. I don't care if you fight 10 out of 10 times. He's just a better boxer than you. And the thing about it is like, it's tough for people to understand, like, you can be really, really great. If you look at UFC right now, Israel Adesanya, right? Robert Whittaker is super great, right? He's a really, really talented fighter. Or you look at Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington. If Kamaru wasn't there, Colby would have been champion the last few years, right? But he just can't get over that hump because you have a historically great person with you. I would say Tyson Fury is the greatest heavyweight of all time. I don't know a person at his size. He's almost 300 pounds with feet like him, with head movement like him. We all love Muhammad Ali because of what he did culturally, but I think Tyson Fury gets Muhammad Ali out of there with ease. I don't think he can handle him. I know.
Cut that out, Caleb. Cut that out, Caleb.
I'm telling you, you have a 300-pound man leaning on you like that, moving his head like that, can take shots like that. I think he gets Muhammad Ali out there with ease, and that's all respect to Muhammad Ali. He's a great one, right? So, like, I just think, like, sometimes you run into those historically great people, and, you know, it's okay to be second best, like I said. Like, you know, Tom Brady was running
when Ali.
Go ahead.
When Ali was when Big George Foreman was the king of the heavyweights and knocking out everybody, Ali did his thing. You know, he worked his magic and he took him out. You can't get no bigger than George Foreman with the power that he had. And at the same time, I like Fury. Fury, I mean, he's slick. He's unorthodox. He's slick, good hand speed. But I mean, Ali is Ali. You know, Ali is Ali. So,
and back to the rematch.
I take Ali on the knockout with that. I mean, hey, he should have lost one of them fights.
And speaking of those rematch clauses, look, you had Ali versus Frazier. Frazier got him. Frazier got him. But those exciting fights, even with the UFC recently, Adesanya and the Brazilian guy. You know, he lost to him the first time. He lost to him in kickboxing.
Yeah.
And then he turned around and got his win back. I mean,
but in that situation, it wasn't really a rematch clause. It was just in the division. Adesanya had beat everyone in that division twice.
Correct.
So who else are you going to give to the guy? Like, he showed that he is head and shoulders above everyone in that division. No one else was worthy of fighting him. That's why. But it wasn't in the contract like, oh, if I lose, you have to fight me again. To me, it's a cop-out. Why am I putting that in the contract? If you beat me, I need to get my rematch back. No, you lost. But he had whooped everyone in the division, and no one could keep up with him. And it wasn't even close.
Like I said, that this a fight of this.
You're back.
Yeah, say it again.
You there?
Are you frozen?
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you. You froze. I'm here now. I can hear you.
All right. Okay. What was you saying?
Yeah, a fight of this magnitude. Yeah, a fight of this magnitude. I mean, there has to be a rematch clause. This is a big fight. You know, you got two people. Definitely the two of the best in that division. Finally, I mean, this fight should have happened 3-4 years ago, and it's finally happened now. They're finally in their 30s. So I mean, a fight of this magnitude, you have to at least have two. You have to at least have two, and don't be surprised. I mean, it might be 3.
Yeah,
don't be surprised
if it goes to a decision. I believe that's a possibility.
That's the other
thing. Yeah. You can milk this. You can milk this one out for a couple of years. You know?
And people will pay to watch it. So,
definitely.
I got a thing that you made me just think of. I didn't realize it. I didn't realize this happens so much in this generation of boxing. Are you seeing a lot more now ever since the Floyd Mayweather being undefeated? You're seeing a lot more undefeated fighters now all coming down. Okay, so you guys see that too. I've just never seen it at this magnitude. It was. I mean, you'll have one guy in one weight class. He's got 15 wins. You got one guy in middleweight, one guy in heavyweight, middle heavyweight. But you just got a whole bunch of guys now that all have no losses, and they're getting together, like you said, later now, 33 and 35. Now you guys are fighting near the end of your career, depending on how these matches end. Could be the end for one of them, but it's just interesting to see all these guys with these undefeated records coming to this point now in their career and getting these big paydays.
Yeah, because these dudes are fighting people they know they can beat just to keep their O. And
Think
then
so?
yeah, I do. And then they finally fight somebody who's good and they get pieced up and they get out of there. You know, like I love going back to the UFC because of Paulo Costa, right? They said he was 99-0. He goes and fights Israel Adesanya and gets whooped like he stole something, you know, because he wasn't ready to go fight somebody like that. You know, like Floyd is special. Look at Canelo. Canelo was undefeated. He went and fought Floyd and looked like a child in there, right? And it made him elevate his game. And Canelo has, what, 2 or 3 losses? He's the biggest star in boxing right now next to Tank Davis, right? But you can see how him fighting somebody who was a really good fighter made him elevate his game. You know, so you fight. I think the idea of this undefeated thing in boxing makes people fight people that aren't very good, and it boosts your head up. And fans know, like, you can't hang with this guy. Rolly Romero fought like an 85-year-old man last time, and it like went. And they had some fake, you know, some fake stoppage, and he was getting pieced up just so he can keep his record. And so for me, it's like, man, put these fights that people want to see. People are going to go pay to see them.
Yeah.
We don't want you to fight people that nobody knows. We want you to fight. We want to have these fights. We want to have Ryan and Tank, right? We want to have Canelo and Floyd. We want to go see those fights. People are going to pay to go see those fights. Everyone makes money. How is Jake Paul making more money 3 fights in than all talented boxers? Than all
vets in the game. Vets.
Genius.
And he's putting up fights that people want to see, and he's selling the fights. And people also got to understand the fight game is just more than your skill. You have to entertain people before the fight, so you have to know how to sell a fight, right? So you have to entertain us before the fight. Look at Tyson Fury, his press conferences. He's so interesting, right? That conversation with him and Deontay Wilder, he says, I'm sitting across from you here now, and I know that you can't beat me. I thought that we were the same, but he goes, we're not the same because I don't really, you know what I'm saying? He knows how to entertain before the fight. He entertains you in the ring, and then after the fight, this man is singing songs to the crowd. And serenading the crowd. Like, he entertains you at every level of the game. And a lot of guys don't understand that. So you don't know how to trash talk. And like they do in the WWE, sell a promo. Adesanya, what does he do? He has a special walkout every single time, right? After, you know, his fight, he's shooting the arrows. Like, he entertains you at every level of the fight. And guys don't understand that.
And he be talking that shit.
I agree 100%.
And that's what
I agree 100%. Me and Siheed was having this conversation earlier about fighters. A lot of fighters don't know how to market themselves. You know, sometimes I think they wait for the promoter to do it, but it really goes both ways. You need your promoter, of course, but you have to go out there and market yourself. 100%. Even if it's going out there talking the crap, you know, screaming on TV about who you want to fight, whatever the case is, you got to be a showmanship. So, we spoke about Ali earlier. That's the one good thing about Ali. He was the premier showmanship, and that's what Fury is. Fury is.
I'm gonna show you how great I am. I'm so fast. I'll turn the light off. I'll be in bed before it gets dark. Mike Tyson. I can't repeat what he used to say on TV. But like he would say them things and we would be captivated. Like, damn, did you hear what he said? Then he goes out and knocks somebody out in 15 seconds. Like those guys were showmen, you know, and that's another reason why they were so big. Tank knows how to trash talk. Floyd started when Floyd was Pretty Boy Floyd, nobody was watching him. Then he says, I'm going to become a heel. And like, man, look at all this money I got. I'm richer than you. My car's not. Everybody's like, man, F Floyd. I want to see him lose. He goes, okay, you going to pay to come see me lose? Yeah. Beating everybody. I'm gonna keep beating everybody up, right? And if you look at all the guys, like you have these fighters. I use the UFC as an example again. The Khabib Nurmagomedov, right? Not a big talker, barely speaks English. The other guy who's in that division, I forget his name right now. A lot of these Brazilians who don't speak English, they never get as big as they can because they can't connect with fans, right? So a lot of them have to start learning how to speak English because the fight game is not just your talent level, right? And even in football and basketball, there are certain people like, we just don't care about you because you get in front of the camera and you can't connect with us. I don't care what you have to say. You're not funny on social media. And so that whole thing is you can be as good as you can, but being able to connect with the people and make people like you outside of just your talent, you know, it takes a rare kind of person to just go out there and be talented. Like Messi's an anomaly. He don't speak no English, but everybody loves him because he's just so great, you know? Like he's just so great at what he does. But I think it's
yes.
Yeah, there's 3 phases to it.
Anderson Silva, he's another one.
Yeah.
My favorite of all time, Anderson Silva.
I mean,
man. Spider was
marketing is so important now. I mean, it is what it is, and you know, that's why you just get on here, talk to you guys on here. We try to market, put yourself out there. You guys started your own business now, and we'll get into that a little bit later. I want you guys to tell everybody about all the great things that you got going on and the events you going to as well. You guys are going to be up and coming as well. You just got to keep doing your thing and just stay with the grind, and the rest will work itself out. But back on when I was talking about marketing, Caleb, you played in the league for a long time. You're drafted in 2015. Now you know of anybody about marketing, what your agent was trying to do to get you sponsorships and things like that. You know, you were a young man at the time. You know, you don't think about that in that broader perspective when you're a young man getting handed that money. You just happy you got the money. You're trying to get the cars and the clothes and the girls and all that. But having a good marketer around you, you know, would help out a lot. Like, I know you can speak to that level about marketing. What is your experiences with that? Like,
man, it's a big deal, man. Like the social media thing is huge, and it was something that I never really got into because it's not my personality. I just kind of just love football and, you know, so things like that. And so, but I have people like, man, like you have to post on Instagram, right? When I started my clothing brand, they were like, dude, you got to post, you got to promote yourself. Like that's how you make money these days. That's how you become a commodity these days. And teams will literally keep you on their team, like, because you bring the team money, right? Like they're signing guys like Baker Mayfield, or you see when Michael Jordan retired from the NBA viewership dipped by 50%, right? When LeBron James left the Eastern Conference of viewership dipped by 75%.
Wow. That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Just because he left the conference. And so that stuff really, really matters.
No, that's I didn't even think about that. You're right. When he left that, just think about when he leaves the league. Period. Who's the next guy? I know it's not boxing. I'm just saying. I mean, who do you go to as far as your marketing guy? It ain't gonna be John Moran unless he's doing a John Wick movie.
Yeah, you're right. Somebody has to keep pushing that engine, you know. Somebody has to keep that market going.
It's a business at the end of the day. It's a business.
It's a business. It's a business.
It's a business. And speaking of
100%.
business, tell everybody about what you guys got going on. I know you guys are low key. But I'm tired of y'all being low key. It's about time you guys start coming. It's about time you guys start coming to the forefront and telling everybody all the shit you got going on. You guys, you're family oriented. You don't know. This is Rassoul's son, Siheed. They can't tell by the names. But what you guys got going on? I ain't gonna spoil it from you. Tell everybody what you got going on.
I think we collectively came up with an idea. It's me, myself, Rassoul, my son Siheed. We have 2 other partners. Sean Lassiter, he's a photographer. Siheed Purnell, he kind of pointed us in the right direction in the Philly scene of boxing. And I think we just came up with an idea. Siheed, he's excellent with the camera. And we said we want to focus in on the world of boxing locally in Philadelphia and just try to put a spotlight on these fighters. We have a YouTube channel that we put up not long ago. And so what we do is we go out to local boxing events and we collect video. We do a little interviewing, not much. Our thing is more about the fighter himself and different personalities in the boxing world. So what we're doing is trying to focus mainly on the fighters, and just if it comes to fighters, the fight doctors, referees, anyone that's in the boxing world, we're trying to put the focus on them. I think you could go across YouTube different channels, and you'll see people with boxing channels, and majority of the time it's about them. We don't do too much talking within ourselves, of course. Our thing is the beautiful science of boxing and the players that's in it. And, you know, that's where we're at now. And we, like I said, we're getting a lot of content. You know, we'll be at the fight Saturday out in Vegas with Spence and Crawford. And we're just trying to continue to tell these stories of boxers and everyone in the boxing community itself. And our aim is just to keep going, you know, and I think really, but our niche right now, and I think Siheed could view
off there
of boxing itself. And you know, on the Philadelphia, the tri-state area, but we're kind of branching out as well as we go.
Yeah. You know, you already know Philadelphia's got a rich history of boxing. First name that comes to mind, you already know what I'm going to say, Rassoul. B-Hop.
Yeah, a lot of champions have come out of Philadelphia. You know, B-Hop. I'm talking about just recently, Cool Boy Fulton, who just lost his belt, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, you just go down the line. I mean, we have great fighters here. Got up and coming fighters. We have Jerron Boots Ennis. I mean, even going back to we mentioned earlier, Joe Frazier. You know, Philadelphia has a long history of boxing, and to this day, it continues. It's a lot of young talent in the city today, and a lot of them don't get that exposure, and that's where we're trying to come in and help them and expose them to the world.
It's like almost like a untold stories kind of thing, trying to hear their voice, their views and their things. Granted, you guys want to boost your brand, but your purpose is to elevate the athlete. There's nothing wrong. That's kind of like, I know it's me and Caleb always bonded. That's kind of what I've always been here with Sports Top 49. What's the word I always use, Caleb? Changing the narrative. We're changing the narrative. For too long, these guys that have been in power have told their sides of the stories, and they don't know squat about half of the stuff that goes on in there. They don't know what really the lingos and the stuff that goes on. So they tell their side of the stories and educating people on things that they're not clear about themselves. So now with everybody have these platforms, now it's great to see all of that coming to fruition. You get to see stuff from a different perspective, the athlete's perspective.
I got a question for you guys. I'm really interested on your take on this. What do you think about this Tyson Fury Francis Ngannou fight coming up? And a lot of people,
those are two big men. That's what I got to say.
A lot of people want to compare it to the Floyd fight and Conor McGregor fight. But first of all, Floyd and McGregor were two way bigger megastars than Tyson and Francis, right? As great as Tyson is and as great as Francis is. And the thing about the Tyson and Francis fight is it's an exhibition. So no one's belt is on the line. No one's record is on the line. Floyd said, if you can beat me, you can have my belt, right? And I'll have a 0, right? I was 40-0. I could be 40-1 now, right? And so it was captivating because, like, man, can this dude? And at the time, Conor was knocking everybody out in the UFC. We're like, this UFC fighter who's the best striker in the UFC, he might land a punch and knock Floyd out. And we knew Floyd didn't have knockout power because he kept breaking his hands. And so it was very interesting, and we were invested. But now these guys are just doing an exhibition. They're changing the rules. It's like you can't knock anyone down. So it's like, I feel like, why should we be interested in this fight? Because the allure for it for me was we have these two guys who have supreme knockout power. But if you're putting in rules, you can't knock people down. Then what am I watching it for? You know. So what are you guys' thoughts on this?
What Francis Ngannou is doing, as you know, with the UFC, they don't pay their fighters as much as the traditional boxing fighters pay. So
that's true.
Yeah. Well, here's a good perspective. So in Conor McGregor's entire fighting career, that Mayweather fight was his highest payday, period.
Yes.
Yes.
He's been a UFC champion for years, leading all the way up until, but yet his
Ace for a while.
His paycheck was nowhere near what his boxing paycheck was.
But that's also because he's fighting Floyd.
So, but it could have been anybody, you put anybody else there, it still would have been a better situation for him than what he was getting with the UFC at the time.
Man, I don't know, man.
So with Francis Ngannou,
yeah,
he's extremely undervalued in the UFC. So he left the UFC, and they didn't think he was going to get this. They didn't believe that he would go straight from MMA world and go straight into fighting the boxing heavyweight champion. And he's been calling for a heavyweight fight for years.
Yeah.
So for a heavyweight boxing fight. So for him, he's kind of like trailblazing in a way, showing that, hey, I can be successful in MMA without the UFC and get what I want at the same time, as far as crossing over into that boxing, world and get the boxing pay. So it's kind of like he's trying to, for lack of a better word, one, secure the bag, and two, show that, hey, it can be successful. You can, as a fighter, take control of your own career, and on top of that, get paid well, if you do it the right way. And that's what I like about it most. Aside from the fight, yeah, I would love to see the fight, but the bigger picture here is the business side of it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that not all MMA fighters can do this.
No.
He has a name. He made a brand for himself.
Yes.
And we were talking about earlier about branding yourself, the marketing. He did it. So him being able to cross over for boxing, all he needed was the opportunity. He has the opportunity. Same thing with Conor McGregor. McGregor already made a name for himself in the UFC. It's only but so much he could have did more. And when it comes to financial wise, him making money financial wise. So it was a no-brainer, and I think at the right time for him to just make that step and fight Floyd. And like Siheed said, I mean, the money wise, he's still comfortable from that fight. He's very still comfortable. So yeah, I don't think everyone can do it, but the special great ones, they can. And it's proven. And I think there's going to be more coming down the line too that actually crosses over.
And even with that, when you're looking at combat sports as a whole, it doesn't matter what style. Why wouldn't you want to see what style is actually the best style out there? Why wouldn't you want to see the two players at the top of the game come together under one fight night? Like, that's exciting. You got an MMA guy who's dangerous, heavy hands. He can knock you out just like Wilder can.
Yep.
And let's see how he adapts the tools from the other martial arts into boxing.
Do we respect Jake Paul's fighting career?
I do.
Sure.
I'll tell you why. Let's say Jake Paul was a regular dude.
Yeah.
Who just started boxing, right? No fights. And then he go fight Joe Schmo around the corner from the other side of town, right? Yeah, the Joe Schmo guy might have, let's say the guy he's fighting has 15 fights. We don't know him.
Yeah.
Jake Paul, everybody he's fought, if you look at them from their UFC career, were killers. He beat Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
Anderson Silva is probably the best striker that the UFC has seen so far.
Yeah, him more style bender. Yeah.
Him more style bender.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, mind you, Anderson Silva had a pro boxing record before the UFC.
Yes, Anderson Silva was piecing dudes up in pro boxing.
Muay Thai, which is a crazy fighting style. You add you have the boxing plus the elbows plus the clinch work plus the knees and the shin.
Yeah.
He's sparred professional boxers all this time. And you have a kid who came out of nowhere.
Yes.
Took him on, and not only just won, he knocked him down.
Yes. Yeah. So I used to not respect Jake Paul's career And then I started noticing he was, because the boxing community said, oh, you're fighting people who aren't boxers because we don't accept you. But every time he would try to fight a boxer who says they're a real boxer, they would find a reason to not fight him. Whether it's like, oh, the guy doesn't want to make weight, or Tommy Fury is just like, oh, my passport, I can't come into town. So the real boxers were ducking this man because they're like, if I lose to him, I disgrace the community. So then he has to keep fighting ex-UFC guys and guys who aren't real boxers. But he tried to fight the real boxers to appease the community, but these guys are scared to fight him. So obviously they're like, man, this kid has talent, and I don't want to be the one to lose and get made fun of because people will look down on me because I lost to a YouTuber. But I do respect the work he puts in because he does look good in there, right? He looks like he's gotten better every single fight, and it's easy to hate him because he's a heel. But if the real boxers are ducking and dodging him, you have to respect it.
And here's the marketing thing. That title, YouTuber, it's just the marketing title to get you to lower your guard. Oh, he's a nobody. But if he was regular Joe Schmo from around the way, and he was out here taking out MMA fighters, right? With established records and established reputation, you would call him the greatest fighter alive because he just came out of nowhere and just knocked off some guys that are well respected in their community. Yeah. When he did fight a boxer, he went the distance with a boxer. And this is just a regular guy.
Yeah. I think one of the coolest things I've ever seen in boxing, and I used to say Muhammad Ali was the GOAT boxer, right? And then I really started watching Floyd very, very closely. And then I was watching HBO release a documentary of the Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor fight. And you're hearing Floyd in his sparring session talking. He goes, you know, I'm going to let him, he's going to be aggressive, right? He likes that lead hand. I'm going to make him miss me a lot, and I'm not going to throw a lot of punches. And about the 8th or 9th round, I'm going to drag him to deep water, and then I'm going to take that fight over. And he did exactly what he said he was going to do. And I'm just like, man, to understand that and to have that kind of IQ and to be like, I know when you're going to get exhausted. You're not used to going 12 rounds in here. Your hands are going to start falling down. Now I'm going to jab you to death. Like, to know that is impressive. And Conor, even the same way, there's a video when he fought, not Anderson, who's the other Brazilian that we just talked about. I forget his name, but he is fighting the Brazilian champion. And there's a video of Conor. He's like, hey, he's very nervous. I've been talking a lot of trash. He's going to be very aggressive. He throws that right hand. I'm going to back up and clip him. That exact thing happened, right? And so you have these guys who, as great as and talented as they are, they're so smart and their IQ is so high. And it gives me a lot of respect for their game, man. Like,
that was the Jose Aldo fight.
Yes, it was Aldo. Yes, it was Aldo. Yeah. That was like a masterclass in getting into somebody's head, and the way he would go there and he was like, man, I'm the king of Brazil. Like,
I wish they did more of those. Remember, did you tune into that triad combat thing that they had where they had the boxers versus MMA guys?
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh man, Shannon Briggs,
that's right up his alley.
So what ended up happening, the MMA team won, mind you, was under a boxing rule set, but I think they could do something crazy like they could clinch a little bit longer, and they just modified the rule set. But this is why these fights are so exciting. What ended up happening is the MMA guys ended up winning the night.
Yeah.
Your team ended up winning the night against professional boxers.
Wow.
So that's why those crossovers are so important, and they're cool to see, because now you get to see, okay, yeah, a boxer can easily win against an MMA guy under a specific rule set. Yeah. But let's see what happens when we just give him the MMA guy just a little bit more room to do what he do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then what do you get?
Man, I think what people don't realize, they think that both things are just the fight game, but they're such two completely different sports, right?
Yeah.
But I do think that there are some boxers that, if they went and spent the time learning how to go defend themselves from the ground game and understand, like, in boxing, if you have good head movement, you're okay. But if you make certain head movements in the UFC, you're gonna get kicked in your temple and you're gonna be knocked out.
Night.
Right? So yeah, but there are certain guys, like I think Gervonta Davis would be a great MMA fighter if he went and spent the time to learn how to defend those things, right? And to learn how to have some ground defense. And even Adesanya, when he first got into the UFC, he was all kickboxing. And if you wrestled him, he was going to have a lot of struggles. And he built himself and he worked to fix that over time. And so I would like to see more boxing people make that transition, you know, and the same way the MMA guys do it just because they want the money grab. But I'd like to see more transition and more guys take it seriously and try to go the other way, because I think it'll be fun to watch. You know, I think it'll be fun for the sport.
One boxer who did it well was Clarissa Shields. She
did a great job. She's in the PFL. Yeah,
great.
Yeah, she looked good.
I think it is something that's probably going to come there, especially now it's going to become a gateway now. People crossing over, going both ways, and people want to pay that and then getting the payday. You can't argue with views and results, and they're getting paid big money for these. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. So, I mean, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Well, you got something else to say, Caleb? I know what you got.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on Dana White? Because I think the way he runs, this might be another 15 minutes, Blake. I'm sorry. The way he runs the UFC, the way he lets people get their shit off, and the way he promotes this fight during COVID, people don't realize everything was shut down during COVID. He went to Abu Dhabi and built a facility, and there was a fight every single weekend, right? Every weekend. And this guy, like, they had the whole thing with Duplessis and Israel Adesanya, where Israel Adesanya is in there.
You talking about the Fighter Island thing?
Huh?
You talking about the Fighter Island thing he had?
Yes. And Adesanya is in there, like, calling Dricus is a white guy from South Africa, right? Yeah. He's a real African fighter. So Izzy goes in there and starts calling him the N-word and is basically challenging him like, oh, you think you're African? Like, say it back to me. And then they ask Dana afterwards, and he goes, why would I care? He's like, he's black. He can do whatever he wants to. He can say whatever he wants. And I'm just like, I love Dana White. And so, you know how Don King was back in the day, and he was like what he's done for the UFC. What are you guys' thoughts about Dana? Because I love Dana White. I love
that. He makes those guys fight. They can't run but so long.
You can't run from the fights with him, bro. It's like, dude, you got to fight or we're going to take your belt.
Yeah, it's like, what else are you doing it for? If you're not going to fight, what are you
doing?
Yeah.
So what are we doing this for? That's the whole point. You want to get paid. You want to fight the best fighters. These are the things you got to do. Whatever. Some people, of course, everybody doesn't like it, but whatever. It's his show. Who's going to trump him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like
this has been a pleasure. We got to do this again, but we will do this more often. I'm glad we were all able to link up. Me and Caleb always love talking everything. You know, we love our football, but we love talking other stuff as well. And now we got two guys that are on the ground level now with boxing. See, these conversations are going to get even better now. It's going to get even better now. Since me and Caleb, we talk about this all the time. We'll bring some other guests on, and Caleb's got all tons of buddies everywhere. So these conversations will be great. You guys, before you get out of here, plug yourselves in one more time where they can find all your content.
Go ahead, Ty. You go.
Philly Fight World on YouTube, Philly Fight World on Instagram. Tune in.
There. Don't miss out. I'll have clips for you guys and everything off of this. I'm gonna post their stuff where you can find it. And you guys make sure to tune in, because these two right here, this is the first you're seeing them, and I can guarantee you it ain't gonna be the last. And we'll end this as we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with it is entirely up to you. Thank you guys. God bless. See you next time.
God bless.